The Big Walk is an all-day walking tour in different neighborhoods each year throughout the 5 boroughs for anyone who's urban curious. It's something that I started when I first got to NYU Gallatin in a way to introduce myself as an architect to our community of scholars, but also as a way to have a moment of community building among students, staff, faculty, and alums, and friends. I'm thrilled. This is our 12th year. It's our first big walk in the Bronx, and we're going to go to Hunts Point today, one of the most fascinating neighborhoods, I think, in New York City.
It's remarkable to be here today and to think about the rebirth and vitality of the neighborhood against this backdrop of real devastation that was part of this community and the surrounding communities not that long ago.
One of the things that I do to do the research before the big walk is I do a lot of field work. So I walk around the neighborhood myself. I try to meet people, but I really look for community partners, like people who really know the neighborhood because they live and work in the neighborhood.
This was a very forbidding street wall. There was razor wire. This was an industrial corridor. There wasn't a lot of people walking here anyway, but this has completely transformed this corner of Hunts Point.
Organizations like the Point and economic development groups really try to advocate and support manufacturing business to get them to stay and retain that industry in these areas for the sake of offering jobs for community members.
If you all know the story of the Bronx, we had the 70s and the 80s, the Bronx was burning, a lot of the housing stock was gone, there was, the infiltration of crack. We wanted to do something that involved young people, that involved the arts, that kind of really, took Hunts Point from the next level of where it was at. From that's kind of progressed into a lot of the environmental justice work that we're doing.
Hunts Point was a romantic, natural idyll. It was an escape from New York. It was, for some of the wealthy residents of Manhattan, like the first Hamptons of New York. So you have to use your imagination. And this park is kind of one little piece of what one might have experienced in that earlier version of Hunts Point.
In 1999, people were complaining because the city was trying to close the Fresh Kills landfill on Staten Island. And one of the places they wanted to bring the city's municipal waste, because they were closing Fresh Kills, was Hunts Point. The community request was that this be turned into a park. And the Point said to Rudolph Giuliani, we don't want more transfer stations, we need more waterfront parks.
My name's Luke Buttonwieser. I'm the grandson of Ann Buttonwieser, who is known as the floating pool lady. The boat actually came up from Louisiana. The barge was donated to the New York City Department of Parks and Recreation and was ended up floated up here to Barretto Point Park, really to address a lot of the concerns related to waterfront access, pools, swimming, recreation access.
We describe ourselves as the university without walls. So the idea of this type of experiential learning where we walk and talk and learn about the city really aligns so well with what Gallatin's all about.